If the sun goes down for 24 hours, have you ever wondered what would happen if the sun switched off for a whole day? Indeed, we cannot sustain life without the sun. But we're talking about only a day. Let's see if we could survive without the sun for 24 hours or not. On this planet, the sun is more crucial than anything else. Without the warmth and light from the sun, the Earth would be an inhospitable sphere of frozen rock. The sun's rays heat the oceans, circulate the air, create our weather patterns, and power the photosynthesis of plants, which in turn provide us with oxygen and food. In its current state, the sun will need billions of years to die out. But what would happen to Earth then? For the first 8 minutes after the sun suddenly vanished, you wouldn't need to worry about anything. There would be chaos after that. Even so, the end of life on Earth wouldn't come as quickly as you may expect. Approximately 8 minutes after the sun sets on Earth, light has made its way from the sun to us. That's why we'd have an extra 8 minutes of daylight even if the sun suddenly vanished. But what about the force of gravity? At a mass of 330,000 times that of Earth, the sun is the system's hinge, exerting a strong gravitational pull that keeps the planets in their stable orbits. It would take us another 8 minutes to notice if all the gravity suddenly vanished. This is because, as per Einstein's theory of relativity, the speed of gravity is the same as that of light. So, yeah, you can finish your meal in the meantime. While temperatures on Earth will remain about the same for the time being, in 8 minutes, the sun will no longer be visible, and vessels and aircraft that were previously able to see clearly will find themselves in the dark. There will be absolute darkness in all rooms, buildings, and locations that lack access to artificial light. In another minute or so, everyone will finally notice that the sky is dark. Time zones no longer apply, and nightfall will never end. It doesn't matter if you're in the United States or Australia. At any given time, you'll be experiencing night. Since there won't be any harshness from the sun, every star will stand out against the velvety blackness of the sky. However, the Earth would not be extinguished even after that. Despite the calm glow in the sky, it would still take up to about an hour for the light from our planets to be reflected on Earth, thus electricity would still be functional. What will happen to celestial bodies? Once the sun goes out, Earth, Jupiter, and every other planet will start traveling in the direction that their momentum carries them. It's important to remember that each planet's trajectory will be unique, and it won't always be perpendicular to the orbital route because planetary orbits are elliptical. Since 24 hours isn't quite long enough, there wouldn't be much shift in these orbits. Neither Jupiter's nor Saturn's gravitational influences are strong enough to have a noticeable impact on planetary motions over such a short period. However, every planet will be a touch further from the sun than it was before. A small amount of net isolation, solar radiation striking a planet, would be lost as a result of this. Once the sun returns, however, the planet's orbits may or may not return to normal, depending on how long it takes for the light to warm the planets again. The true consequences of the sun's absence would not be seen for thousands or possibly millions of years. Our solar system's comets would cause the most fascinating changes, and much like the planets and comets, orbits will have changed throughout the same period, since they will no longer be accelerating or decelerating. There are many more comets than planets, and some of them have highly unstable orbits. These comets may cause mayhem in the inner solar system for thousands or millions of years. What will happen to our moon? Once the sun goes down, Earth, Jupiter, and all other planets will begin moving in the direction that their momentum takes them. Because planetary orbits are elliptical, it's crucial to keep in mind that the path of each planet will be different and won't necessarily be perpendicular to the orbital route. There wouldn't be much change in these orbits because 24 hours isn't quite long enough. Over such a short time scale, the gravitational pull of either Jupiter or Saturn is too weak to significantly alter the orbits of the planets. However, the average planetary distance from the sun will increase somewhat for every planet. This would cause a negligible reduction in net isolation, the amount of sunlight that reaches a planet. But depending on how long it takes for the light to warm the planets again, their orbits may or may not revert to normal once the sun returns. It would take thousands or even millions of years for the effects of the sun's becoming dark to becoming apparent. The most interesting changes would be brought about by the comets that orbit our solar system. Since comets are no longer accelerating or decelerating, their orbits will have changed over the same period, making them look more like those of the planets. Some comets have extremely unstable orbits, and there are far more of them than planets. For hundreds of millions of years, these comets might wreak havoc in the inner solar system. How will plants react? After 8.5 minutes, the photosynthesis will stop. There is some good news, though. If photosynthesis were to cease right now, there would still be some oxygen in the atmosphere. It is estimated that the current supply of oxygen on Earth will last for up to another 370 years, after which point it will no longer be sufficient for any new life to develop. In a few days, the Earth will be cooled to a balmy 5 to 7 degrees Celsius, 41 to 45 degrees Fahrenheit. To put it another way, temperatures have dropped by about negative 20 degrees Celsius and negative 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Some plants and microbes died as a result of this, but marine life won't notice any differences just yet. Temperatures would begin to decrease within a few days, killing off any humans still on the surface of the planet. Sea ice would form in 2 months, but it would take another 1,000 years to completely freeze our oceans. But by that time, Earth's atmosphere would have collapsed, radiation would have speeded in, and the planet would be an unpleasant wasteland floating aimlessly through space. How long could humans live if the sun stopped shining? Even if some humans make it through, this would still be considered a major extinction. The vast volume of water on Earth's surface would slow the large temperature variation that is poised to shock the Earth's atmosphere, but it would not prevent it entirely. With the sun gone for so long, the atmosphere would eventually start to liquefy and fall to the surface. The temperature would be so great that it would kill off any organisms in the upper layers of the water and on land. There could still be living in the Earth's crust and the ocean's depths. No one knows exactly how long it would take for the Earth's atmosphere to start condensing heavily in space. But given that the effective temperature of space will be close to absolute zero, it shouldn't be too long. A global ice age might begin as a result of the sun becoming dark, and melting the ice could take thousands of years. Because some strains of steppe bacteria have been shown to survive journeys to the moon and back, some microorganisms might make it through this whole ordeal. They would probably end up being the world's rulers. Everybody knows that life has a lot of resilience. People might die out, but the world will go on. The loss of sunlight would have immediate and far-reaching consequences, but the question arises, has it happened before? People who worked in Kenya almost 50 years ago saw a total solar eclipse in a semi-desert area 300 kilometers north of Nairobi. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. There was no cloud cover, so we could see the full splendor of the eclipse, and we were also able to observe the solar eclipse's impact on the local wildlife. Even though the sun was still very high in the sky, the early onset of nighttime alarmed a herd of zebras that happened to be nearby. There was a sudden silence as the numerous birds in the air went to bed for the night. The temperature dropped by about 4 or 5 degrees Celsius during the brief period of near darkness. Scientists believe that the average global surface temperature will fall below 0 Fahrenheit within a week or so, but no one knows what will happen next. You've probably withstood such temperatures during the cold winter months before. So what's the big deal? Unfortunately, the temperature would only continue to plummet. The average worldwide surface temperature may drop below negative 100 degrees Fahrenheit within a year. The world's waters would have frozen over by that point. Fortunately, the sun isn't going anywhere anytime soon. This ends our video for today. I hope you've gained more gratitude for the existence of the sun. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel to see more informative videos like these. See you next time.